Welcome to the Disco Pile. I'm your host, John Corbett. My guest tonight is an old warhorse, Pat Bortz. Welcome, Pat.
Hey, everybody.
Now, Pat is conducting this interview in 2002, where computers don't have webcams. So you'll have to just we'll do it like a radio call-in show. So coming from Erie, Pennsylvania, Pat, are you still in Erie?
Yeah, Erie. It's northwest Pennsylvania. I'm like an hour away from Erie, so it's not. It's around that area. I just tell people Erie because it makes it easy for them to place it.
And you've been playing a long time. You're around in the 1E days, right?
Yes, I played since the game started out. We used to have a little player pool in Hubbard, and Steve Rotz was actually a part of it, and we got together and played for quite a while, and then we kind of just fell apart. And Steve's about the only one I see from the old playing days, 1E days.
Now that's football country out that way. So I'm assuming you're a Steelers fan, correct?
Oh yeah, it's all football. It's all Steelers, all Browns, all the time.
Yeah. So speaking of the football, what do you think about
big rivalry with those two guys?
What do you think about Michael Sam, the infamous NFL draft kiss? What do you think about that?
I didn't see it, so I'm kind of
no one saw it
out of the loop
live
on that stuff.
Well, it was the seventh. It was he got drafted in the 7th round, and then he was at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he kissed. He had his boyfriend there, and he kissed his boyfriend, and people.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. People, it wasn't that much. Like, a couple of knuckleheads on Twitter, but overall, people didn't. I think people took it well because it was a big, it was a big moment. It was. He got drafted. He said, "Come here," and he kissed his little white boyfriend, and then he started messing around with some cake. It was nice. I mean, it was a good moment for sports. But you guys can handle that out there, right?
Years ago in Saturday Night Live, I think they did a thing where the first interracial same-sex kiss when it was like Chevy Chase and Garrett Morris or something doing something like that. So it's been around for a while.
You're dating yourself with that early SNL.
I saw that online. I think, yeah. I wasn't aware of that live.
Well, I wasn't sure if they'd be able to handle that because, as your former governor Ed Rendell said, Pennsylvania is basically Pittsburgh and Philadelphia with Alabama in the middle. So I thought maybe some people might have lost their Fruit Loops when they saw that on TV.
Well, this is heavy redneck country here. It's they don't go for that kind of stuff down here.
That's how they talk out of here. But, yeah.
There's a lot of like underground, not racism, but
it's just
homophobia. I believe.
Yeah. But the only problem I had was the one.
No, there's all underground racism here too.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's everywhere. The only thing that kind of bothered me, there wasn't a lot of backlash for it, which was good. But the one guy was like, "Oh, there's kids watching. I can't believe ESPN would show that." And the phrase "kids watching" is like it's the Hail Mary of racist and homophobes. Like, it's for the kids, not I can handle it, but the kids. Like it's such horseshit because I got 3 kids and so what? Kids, 2 boys kissing it's on the TV now, and I tell you they don't care. They don't.
Which would you rather have them watch? Two guys kissing or 2 guys beating the crap out of each other?
Yeah, so watching UFC or something, people beating the crap out of each other, or guns, or stuff
which is
like
slightly
that.
homosexual or homoerotic anyway.
Yeah. Don't get me started on UFC. It's just 10 minutes of dudes laying on each other. So that's
It is.
Yeah, I could do a whole rant on that. But we're here today to you started the card of the day post, the series. I guess we can call it a series now. It's basically like a blog in a post. But it was kind of people. It's right before no one's talking about TUI, and then all of a sudden now people are talking about TUI. So you get a lot of credit for that. So we are going to do our best 5 and worst 5 cards of the CC era. So Pat, what do you want to start? You want to start with the best, or you want to start with the good news or the bad news?
Let's start with the bad one. That way we'll work up to the good one. The last ones will be good ones.
Okay, so we'll go back and forth. All right, you give me your 5th worst card in the CC era.
The one that I was not wild about is this side of paradise, the zero cost dilemma that decays when you put 4 people on it. When a personnel is killed, they are placed on the dilemma and it decays just into the discard pile. It's like there's a sentence missing from that, like they should be going back into your draw deck or something like that.
Yeah.
I talked to Charlie about this once, and he said it was to moderate the puppet Ducat stuff. But I was like, well, it's still going into the discard pile anyway. How is that helpful?
Yeah.
The only decks I've seen them use. The only decks I've seen this used in are like Voyager decks with Chakotay, just a zero-cost event that you can pop off easily. And there's also, I think you can use it with Q. What is that? Q Scorned.
Yeah, you can probably use it with.
You discard an event to.
Yeah, you can probably use it with Walk the Line too. 'Cause I think you still command them if they go into Purgatory. It's called Purgatory. But it's.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you should say that because my number 5 is Evade Samaritan Snare, and that's exactly like it's exactly like that card because they both are guilty of the same sin and is not doing what they were supposed to do. That card, this side of Paradise, was supposed to counter a Tragic Turn. It was supposed to, but I don't know what happened. They screwed up. Evade Samaritan Snare was supposed to curtail downloading, and that got watered down during playtesting. So they're basically cards that were supposed to be meta control cards, I guess, but they, I don't know, they didn't get through testing without being watered down, which I know from personal experience can happen.
That is a problem with a lot of the cards. You see it when you look at the design, you say there's an element of a good idea here, but it's almost like they said, oh, this is too good, we can't let them have a good card, let's try to make it a little worse.
Yeah, and it's I mean, that's how you do design. You start with a good card, and then you try to bring the power down, because it's easier to do that than make a lukewarm card, than try to build it up. So, but that's what happens in playtesting sometimes, especially with the meta control cards, because I mean, there's always backlash when you try to take away people, try to take away their drugs, downloading, try to turn. So, I mean. So that's what their sins are. So give me your number 4. Your number 4.
Inhumane Interrogation Dilemma. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah. That's like a real. That's like a. You know what that? I was told that was for like ID draft. That's not even like it's a card like every card can't be good. Some cards are for. And I'm like, even in draft, that's still, even grading on that curve, it's not that good. But go ahead. What are your thoughts on it?
There's no choice for the event. You know what I'm saying? It's you may destroy an event in your core to prevent this. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, only in draft could that.
I can't even.
Yeah, only in draft. Yeah, possibly.
Because personnel. The thing is, you randomly select the person. The way I thought this thing should have run is, you randomly select the personnel, and then you turn it down so you can't see it, and then have the person decide whether to kill them or to take an event out of the core. You can put an element of bluff into it, or a blind, choice.
No, yeah. Anytime there's a gamble, anytime you can bring gamble into the game, it's good for business. My number 4 is Brian Eversers, that damn hologram from.
Oh, I hate that card. I didn't use it because I was pretty sure you were going to mention it.
Yeah,
and that's Michael Pillar on. That's Michael Pillar on the card, isn't it?
No. I think it's
one of the.
No, it's Ira Stephen Bear. It's Ira, that guy, the 3 names. He's got 3
Ira
names.
Stephen Bear?
Yeah, I don't never trust anybody with 3 names or 2 first names, like, Scott Harold, or, his last name is a first name. Those are the rules. But he's got 6 lines of text. 6 lines of text. There's probably
I know. My eyes. I can't even read the card sometimes, and it's not like a straightforward ability that you can understand. You have to sit there and read it and think about it and try to figure out how to make it work. Ugh.
Yeah, it's got and it's got bad. Oh, excuse me. Oh, no, he's got bad language. Instead of download, it's look through, and then it's just it's got British. It's got British English in it. So, but yeah, and it slows the game down. On top of it, its worse sin is just imagine a game where both people are talking 3 copies, and it would be that's 10 minutes right there of nothing. What's your number 3?
Each player has to look through their draw deck. Ugh. And then you like okay, it does have a kind of bluff mechanism to it though, where you want to download something your opponent's not going to download.
Yeah, the reward
placed in their owner's hand.
Yeah, it's the risk reward. I don't see the cons outweigh the pros on that one. Give me your number 3, Pat.
Opportunity seized. It's an interrupt to play. Interrupt, discard a card. Then opponent plays that interrupt. You may destroy this rule. Oh, it's an interrupt that's used for Ferengi, I think.
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Hold on, I gotta pull it up so I can. And there's some. You discard a card discard a card. I gotta look at the card actually, so I know what I'm talking about.
I'll let you know because I'll tell you why. You're actually wrong. I actually use this in the Texas Regional. I'm not saying it's a good card, but it's an interrupt prevention, which the game is terribly in need of. It's a little goofy, but it's affiliation flavored, so that's why that's the game the direction is going to go back towards into every more affiliation theme. And you have to get rid of a card beneath Ring and R, so that's not really a cost. That's easy to do. And it's a stone. The order makes your ship range +4. And when I went to Texas Regional, I played. I was trying to play like a Hue alien gambling device. I played it, so I lost my first 2 games. But the game I did win is because I got 2 missions done in the same turn. I used Ferengi computer twice on Git. He got picked twice by show trial, and both times I used a Ferengi computer. And for some reason, I don't know why, but my brain, I started thinking of Richard Nixon. I'm like, it's not illegal if the Negus does it. So he got past show trial, and then they're all crammed into our personal transport with 7 range. So I played Opportunity Seized to give it the 4 range, and I went and did the last mission and won the game. So it's
that's good if you can make it work for you. The thing that bothered me about it was you have to have a rule in play in order to discard to activate the ability. So you've got to discard that rule, and then you still have to discard a card from Ferenginar. To play this interrupt, discard a card from beneath Ferenginar, and play it. So you've got to discard 3 cards to make this thing work.
Well, I don't think
if you want to.
No. For the range boost, you don't have to destroy a rule in your core. That's just to prevent an interrupt.
But you still have to discard. You still have to discard a card from beneath Ferenginar in order to pop your range.
Yeah, that's nothing. A card you can have. There's always an extra BS card underneath Ferenginar. That's no problem.
So you'd be using 2 cards. You'd be using the Opportunity Seized and the card under Ferenginar to get your ship going, and then you could probably get the same kind of effect with what's that interrupt that. Quantum slipstream drive. You just use that 1 card in your deck.
Yeah, but like I said, Opportunity Seized. You also have a bonus. For you don't have too much interrupt prevention. My number 3.
That's true.
And we're having a special run-in tonight. I asked a backup guest to come on tonight just in case we had some internet connections in Erie. There's some storms going on in Erie, and Texas internet could go out anytime if the wind blows.
Yesterday there was storms all over the place, and tonight it's been really sweet. There's been nothing going on.
So our backup guest tonight is Neil Timmons. Welcome, Neil.
Good evening.
All right, so my number.
Hey, Neil, what's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
Okay, it's good to hear from you, man.
we'll get to Neil if when we need some story time. My number 3 is assess contamination. We don't even need to talk about it. We all know why assess contamination is terrible. So give me your number 2, Pat.
Harcourt Fenton Mudd. I mean, the character is one of the premier characters in from the original series, and he's one of the few villains that's shown up twice, 3 times if you count the animated series, and the card is just blah. When just main of cause. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're fine.
Okay. Hold on, I've got to look at the card.
I'll tell you. Well,
go ahead and vamp for a minute so I can look at the card.
I'm fairly confident this was a community operation because I remember when there was 2 of them in a file in one of the playtest files, and both of them were not very entertaining. And yeah, I mean this just falls into another community. I mean a long list of not so good.
Well, yeah, the headset's not very good either.
And another one, my number 1, but we'll get to that in a second. Go ahead. You got to say something about Harcourt?
Yeah, when this personnel is about to make a random selection, you have to have a commodity in your court to make that thing even work, and you give a command of a commodity to an opponent to choose an additional present to include. Why would you? I don't understand this card. Why would you include another person in your random selection?
Because if you want to get 2 leadership personnel through, and you only have 3 leadership personnel, then you include somebody who does not have leadership, so that potentially. Let's say the way around.
Yeah, there's a lot of if and potentials in that card. Speaking of if, my number 2 is Warrior's Resolve. That's the one where you take a random card from your discard pile, and if it's a Klingon personnel, it adds the cost to your range, or sorry, your attributes of your Klingon ship. So this is anytime you have the word if in your card. 90% of the time, it's probably going to be a bad card. Maybe in a dilemma, it's okay because you have if, blah, blah, blah. But in an interrupt or something, you don't want if. So it's a chance of that a card you play and nothing might happen. So plus, Klingon ships don't need. You might need a range boost, but you're not going to need weapons or shields.
Oh, you totally need shields.
Well, when am I going to need shields for my Klingon ship?
When people shoot at you.
No, it's an order. It only lasts until the end of the turn.
Well, then the shields are pointless.
That's yeah. Okay, thanks for saying what I just said. Pat, go ahead.
Okay, so Harcourt Fenton Mudd can give you an extra person with fractured time.
They were trying to push commodities. This is just commodities. What are we going to do? And Harcourt actually had nothing to do with commodities. He should be pumping thieves or something.
What I was thinking is he should do something to the opponent. You should actually give that character to the opponent that would somehow screw up his gameplay. I don't know, make everybody cunning -1 or something, or stop somebody randomly before a mission attempt. Something that screws up the opponent.
I think he's a great candidate to steal people's events. I think if he was stealing your opponent's events in your cores, if you had to pay a heavy cost,
that would be great.
I feel like he would. Something.
Yeah, but there's already that
All right,
event
so
that
Pat,
steals events.
Yeah, boy, that should be the thieves. That's a great mechanic for thieves. I love that. That's the one of the few cards of unnatural selection I like is the event stealer. All right, Pat, give me your drum roll. Your number 1 worst card in the CC era.
Well, I've got. First of all, I got to tell you, I think this is a good card. But I hate it. I hate it when I sit down across from somebody and they're playing Starfleet, and I just know they're going to pull out Jonathan Archer, Damage Captain, because all my dilemmas seem to require random selection, and he just easily passes by every random selection dilemma I have out there.
Right.
And
so build a skill-based file. That's what he's to change the game.
Yeah, but they did. That's people say when I design hammers that I'm a little excessive. Jonathan Archer is a sledgehammer. Sorry, a wrecking ball. He's just. I mean, I'm okay with what the concept behind him of trying to steer people towards skill dilemmas, but that was the sin of Jonathan Archer is turning dilemmas into blanks. Was just a lazy, bad design idea to push skill dilemmas back in that direction.
He should be. When you use his ability, he should be stopped. That would prevent it from going over and over again, or maybe you make the ability once per mission attempt, something like that. Back when he was combined with the old version of Samuel's, those decks were just, ugh. I just hated sitting across from those decks.
Yeah, well, you don't have to remind me and Neil, because we flew all the way to Germany to see everybody play that and Sean Hawkins. So me and Neil, we had a...
But if I'm...
And then when everyone... The best part
I'm building a Starfleet deck... If I'm building a Starfleet deck, I'm using Archer though. I'm not like he's just too powerful not to. If I want to play a winning deck with Starfleet.
You're calling yourself out as a little bit of a hypocrite, but I understand what you're saying. It's fine. It's okay to be like, it's bad, but I'm forced to use it. No, in this game you have to do that. Like I don't want to do that.
But if I'm playing Starfleet, I'm using it.
The worst part.
I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. I'm sorry.
No, it happens. It happens in the show. Well, the worst part is about when we get back from Worlds of Germany, and then the people who didn't go, we're like, this is terrible. This was like not the game wasn't fun. The whole tournament was, and the people who didn't go were like, oh, you weren't, blah blah blah. I said, pay me $1,000, refund my money, and then you can tell me that. Don't tell me I can't bitch when you sat home and then I spent my good money to get to Germany.
Yeah.
So speaking of the community, my number one card is All-Consuming Evil. Neil, tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why that's not the worst card of the CC era.
That's one of the best cards.
Okay, tell me why. I'm glad you showed up just in time. I want to fight. Let's go.
Because it has an interaction that is different than other interactions.
That makes it. That can be said about. That's a neutral comment. That doesn't mean that can be good or bad.
It pushes you to think about using consume dilemmas, which are extremely expensive.
And that's why they're not expensive. They're cheap cost. That's a cost. Consume is a cost.
Well,
the clown guillotine costs too. You're taking a cost. The consume is a cost. Yeah, I'm paying less than counters, but I'm costing dilemmas underneath me. So You're taking a cost and turning it into a reward. So now, where's the cost for the clown guillotine? Let's just use that as a prime example. So tell me why how that's not ridiculously costed now because of that.
Wait, what?
The clown guillotine. What's the cost of playing that now? It costs 2, but I consume 3. But that's meaningless now. That's good. It's good that I consume 3.
Yeah, you still get 3 dilemmas out of the deal, whether one of those dilemmas does something or not.
Yeah, so I get 3 dilemmas and no people. That's not you're not paying a cost. That's a good turn.
Okay. First of all.
All right, you didn't make your point, Pat. Talk to me about All-Consuming Evil.
I kind of like the card. I've used the kill dilemma piles quite a bit. I can see why people wouldn't like it. It's a little overpowered, and it can really like make people sad when you just kill their people over and over. But I think there's something to be said for that particular style of dilemma. When you put all those consume dilemmas under a mission, I mean, that's kind of a ballsy thing to do, I think, to have that kind of card out there. I don't know if it's bad for the game or not. It can be bad for players when they're not prepared for it and they don't know how to kind of prepare for their decks for those kind of interactions.
Well, right, but here's the problem. In my opinion, here is the underlying problem of Star Trek: The Card Game. The Continuing Committee has wrecked the number of viable dilemma piles by errataing cards or making cards that turn dilemmas into blanks, i.e. Archer. So now there's not a lot of different dilemma piles that I can play. I can play a Where No One's Gone Before pile that will often include Personal Duty, Hard Time, Where No One's Gone Before. But Triage, Mugado, and some other stuff, but that's kind of that's the basic pile. I can play an unfair comparison pile. You got to build your deck around that, but it's doable. Or I can play a tragic turn pile, or a legacy pile. I mean, what other dilemma piles have we not just taken a hammer to? And the tragic turn pile is weak if you can play around it. And you're saying, well, but you catch people unprepared. Yeah, it does. It works once. It probably works twice. But I've had people those tragic
works quite well. It works on me more often than I'd like to admit.
I mean, I ran into it twice in the last tournament and beat both people. Just because I know the pile well enough and I just played right around it. And they threw a bunch of dilemmas. None of them, I mean, half of them worked, and then I just completed a mission. That's the risk you run with Tragic Turn. You're going to give them 9 dilemmas. You better kill their whole crew, because if you don't, you just surrender.
Right, we filled up our quota on Tragic Turn talk for the day. That's it. That's all I have.
Well,
all right.
Here's my point. Here's what I'm trying to say. That creates one of the few viable dilemma piles that is left in the game that hasn't been errated out of the game or hammered out of the game. If we wreck Tragic Turn, what's left? We're going to go to big tournaments. We're going to see where no one's gone before Gump 2 and Legacy.
Well, I mentioned this on previous shows that I don't think dilemma piles need to have a type. I don't think we always, you need a center. You don't need a legacy, unfair. Like dilemma piles. Should be dilemma piles. That's just my school of thought. Just all right. Off of that top, Neil, give me your worst card of the CC era, off the top of your head.
Worst card of the CC era, jeez. Ask Pat a question. I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh, off the top of your head, answer the question. This isn't a congressional hearing. I want to know what happened in Benghazi. What happened in Benghazi?
Pre or post errata?
Post errata.
Post errata?
In the present, right now, what is the worst card of the CC era?
I have no answer for you. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. You're going to answer the question.
Jesus Christ is not a card yet.
You're a real piece of shit, Neil Timmons. That's why you know that. All right,
Pat.
I'm
not a hater. I'm a lover.
All right, Pat. Let's get off the negativity. Let's start the best cards of the CC era. What's that?
I don't know. What's that thief ship that requires? No, that was fine.
Don't worry about it. We're done. No, I stopped caring what you think. All right, Pat. Give me your
unnatural selection.
Half. All right, good answer. Nick will love that. Anything Nick decided on national selection. All of Nick, James cards okay. All of Nick's cards terrible. All right, Pat, give me your number 5 best card of the CC era. Pat, you die? Did he die? Did Erie fall in the ocean? The lake? Whatever the hell it is? Uh-oh, I'm going to be forced to talk to Neil more. This is not going to be a good show. Pat, you there?
The coordinated larceny.
Is that the one that steals events? I like that one.
No, that's the one that it costs 3 and you can replicate it to put a card from your display of wealth on top of the winner's deck.
So I was talking when we started the show, before we jumped in, I asked since Pat lives out in Steeler country, about the Michael Sam kiss. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on the draft?
I know nothing about the draft.
You don't know anything?
I haven't read anything about it.
Well, the Redskins didn't pick until 2 days later, so.
I don't know.
Hold on, let me ask you a question.
I'm not even aware that football players exist at this point.
So who's more racist, Sterling or Dan Snyder, the Redskins owner? Who's more racist?
Oh, jeez, that's probably Snyder, because Sterling's probably not that racist. He's kind of an old guy that just says weird stuff, and people jumped all over him, and it is what it is. Snyder's actually actively being a jerk. Like.
Well, he's not being a jerk. I think, especially the last interview. I think it was this reality. Well, first of all, I think he was drunk during the interview, or at least had a couple of drinks with him, because he was just the eyes, the whole. I don't know. Maybe he just like that. But it's. I think it's in reality. He finally got caught. He finally was not able to get away with something. Like even with the other stuff he did with blocking out minorities from buildings, he was able to just pay. Money's gotten him out of every problem.
Yeah.
80 years on this planet, and finally he can't buy his way out of this one, and you just see him not be able to handle it, and then just starts talking about Magic Johnson has AIDS, like that's like that has anything to do with him. But I mean, it's a no one's.
At this point, now that they've voted to make him sell his team, now he's just trying to grab headlines because why not? Let's just get in the news. This will be fun. I highly suspect Snyder's not really all that racist. He's probably more elitist than anything. Like, I'm better than all people. I don't care what color you are. Maybe I'll make fun of those people because whatever, but I'm better than everyone, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he thinks his tradition, his family legacy trumps racism. Yeah, he's a scumbag.
But remember, he was caught making some offhand remarks in the privacy of his home. Now let's not sugarcoat it. I've heard you say some pretty colorful crap in your home when you knew the cameras weren't on.
I've said things in your home and every other people's homes on the show, public record saying things at home.
When the camera isn't on you, people say really funny things. Maybe they're funny, maybe they're not funny. Depends on who's listening.
Yeah.
People try to say things that are shocking just to get a rise out of someone else. So he engages in some minor racism in his home behind closed doors. I mean, yeah, is it right? Probably not. Does it really matter? It shouldn't. Not behind closed doors. I mean, if we're gonna say, hey, let gay people do what they want behind closed doors and don't tell them what to do, then we should tell everybody, hey, if you're behind closed doors, you can do whatever you want. That's fine. Now, Snyder's a different story. The people who he is slighting with the name of his team have told him, you are slighting us with the name of your team. You should change it because we find it grossly offensive. And he said, hey, why don't I give some money to some stupid Indian charities? Is that cool? Does that make us even? Just throw some bucks at some guys. I'm not going to change my name. I don't care if it's offensive. Even if it's directly making fun of you personally and you find it grossly offensive, that's I don't care. But
yeah, I get a rise out of a lot of people in the poker room up here up in southern Oklahoma when I start writing about, and there's actual Native Americans it's in a casino, and so but people still go, oh well, one guy was like, well, what about the Fighting Irish? And I'm like, you can't be serious. Like, those are not the same thing. So, and then some guy was like, oh, well, what if, not a lot of people are offended. I'm like, well, how many people have to be offended for it to be racist? Like, it's not, what number? 10 people, 100, 1,000? Like, racist is racist. But, well, I asked Amber Van Bremen and Michael Van Bremen to send me their best and worst cards of the CC era, and their number one together was Tacking Into the Wind. And
what? Best for best or worst?
Best, yeah. I don't know. It's not. Definitely can't say it's bad, and I don't ever use it. Like, I can never put it in.
Really?
I'm not going to use it early in the game. I've seen other people use it.
3 of those in every one of my decks.
All right, so you agree it's the best card of the CC era? You just said it was. You said it was worst. Or you're trying to say
because I was gonna rant and rave if they said worst.
No, I don't want to pay. Yeah, I get a discount if my opponent completes a mission, but if I have to pay 4 to download a ship, the early game mechanic is not really.
Okay. If you're using it to download a ship, you're doing it wrong, or you're desperate.
I know it's really event destruction, late game, which is 4, but I just don't find it.
No, it's event destruction mid game. It's crap late game.
Yeah. I don't think that last the shuffle. I don't think that's ever bailed. That's a Hail Mary.
I personally have used it.
Yeah, but it didn't let you come back and win a game. I doubt it's a Hail Mary at best, and I don't think it's ever. Well, I'm not trashing it. I just said I never.
It's a Hail Mary on a card that does like 2 of the things too.
And Amber's worst was Telly, the Cardassian mess, the guy who swaps out dilemmas.
See, again with the whole pre or post errata, he's been errated. He's fine.
I don't know if I don't know. He's an ugly card. He's just ugly. He's very unelegant. Is that a word? Inelegant, unelegant? I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, he's not. But I mean, he's okay. I wouldn't say he's worse.
Yeah, I mean, for what you're getting, what you pay for, he's way worth the price because he just pretty much wrecks. He wrecks regular dilemma piles. Like if I play a Dreamer of the Dream late game, I mean, or the first mission attempt, I can't play a dual dilemma again. I mean, he's really strong, and I don't know if he's the worst card, but he was. Plus, his interaction with the Suska tab,
I got one for you. Here's what.
What's that?
I stand with my shipmates.
What? Yeah, that's your worst. Yeah.
Here's why that goes in top 5. I don't know if it's worse, but that would go in top 5. And here's why is Charlie told me straight up, this card's awesome. It's so underrated. People are gonna see how underrated this card is.
Is that your Charlie Plane impression? Was that it?
Yeah. That's all I got.
It was fairly. That's Charlie half the time. That's 50% of Charlie Plane.
And somebody ran the numbers on the game and said actually the reason at what cost is so powerful is because 7 counters is far more rare than 5 points. Like I have more sets of 5 points during the course of a game than I have sets of 7 counters.
Oh, since we lost Pat, I'll go through my top 5 and real quick, and then you can just tell me why I'm wrong. Number 5 is Insurrection. We don't need to debate that. I just wanted to put there to troll people. Number 5, Insurrection.
I'm unfortunately in your camp with
I know you agree with me. That's a tricky part. But no, I'm gonna have everybody. Hopefully next week I put out an open invitation to anybody who wants to come on for the great Insurrection debate for our mid-season finale. Because after we'll back on in 2 weeks and then we'll take
I'm slowly getting into the camp of Insurrection should just replace all attribute requirements with attribute of 38.
Yeah, but people, here's the thing. Like, you know what? I don't want to hear it. Because people are like, oh, well, we should change. But like, we're not changing shit.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
like, no one else goes, oh, well, let's change this whole it is what it is now. Like, it got watered down in testing. Like,
I know, but I mean, now on one side, I am crazy against the idea of errating the cards for any reason other than to fix broken cards. Like using the, you and I kind of raised all holy hell against Legacy and got Legacy fixed, and that kind of opened the floodgates for errata to be used as a balancing tool.
Yeah, but Legacy.
Pre-Legacy, we didn't use errata as a balancing tool. Post-Legacy, we used errata now, and that's a terrible.
Mara, yeah. I mean, there's some stuff. Yeah, but the game was all after people. Yeah, you're talking about that one.
There have been 30 cards errated since Legacy.
Yeah, but that's because of 2 years after peak performance. There was just the I don't know how to describe.
Now hold on. There have been 10 cards errated from peak performance. Most of those weren't errated for balance. Most of those were errated because they were broken.
Yeah.
Or just not built right. I mean,
we could do a whole show.
Yeah, but we're not going to go there. What it means is that errata has been used as a balancing tool, and that I think is the worst reason to use errata.
Yeah, but you have to when the game is out of balance. Like it was. Yeah, you don't want to do it. It's a necessary evil. I mean,
well, but the game isn't out of balance.
Not anymore. Yeah, not anymore.
Well, but I mean, if the game is slightly out of balance, fix it with card design, where it's really effective.
Oh yeah,
great way to fix the game.
Since we started the errata team, and early on, we're still in the preliminary phases of our first batch of errata, and some of I try to tell people some of the time like, oh, we'll take this off, and I'm like, you can't because that takes away from the design of the card. I'm not going to redesign a card. Like if it's a shitty concept, it's a shitty concept. Something like one has to do with a 40-point mission. So I'm like, that's what they were pushing at the time. I'm not going to change that because that's what it is. It's a card that keys off a 40-point mission. So, I mean, you got to stick with what the card does. Let's go. I'm gonna go with number 4. Number 4, and this is the last time I push one of my cards. It's Ingenious Jury Rig, because this was the anti-Shran card, and it worked. I don't think you try to say something bad about this card, Neil.
I'm going to, but it's not that specific card. We are very close to being able to build a dilemma pile that has 0 cards that go under. And this card helps that.
Yeah, but players were already good at that anyway, and it's been less of that. That actually hasn't been around in a long time. That was like a big, especially.
What are you talking about? That's what won Continentals at Gen Con last year. That's what I lost to.
Okay.
It
finally came back. Yeah, but in the early days, especially in the meta pre DC invasion, in the Cypher days, that's what usually was played. It was hard, like trying to get to put as less dilemmas as possible. So
right.
Yeah, that's like the one knock, but it costs 3, so I think makes up for, it not going under.
Yeah, that's like I said, it's not a gripe against that specific dilemma. It's a gripe against dilemmas that don't go under, which we should kind of quit making. There's already enough of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's a fair point.
But that specific dilemma is fine.
Number 3 on my list is the Central Command, and that's because before the capture got a big push, Central Command alone made Cardassians viable again. Because before that, Gum2's Issue of Trust, any skill-based 11 pile just raped them. So I think Central Command was a great card that made put Cardassians back on the map.
It needed to happen.
What's that?
It needed to happen.
Yeah. All right, number 2 on my list is the Promenade School, and that's kind of the same deal. That alone, it actually created 2 decks. It created Starfleet Earth and DS9 Earth. It made 2 separate. You could play it at 2 separate decks. So it just made a whole new. And they also made people play. It dusted off. It made a lot of oddball. Got Hoya, Melora Pizarro, all the oddball species DS9 people.
It created the Gerashenia deck, which is I love the Gerashenia deck. It's a fantastic deck. Very, very nice.
Yeah, yeah. At Corbicon, I was playing an unfair comparison pile, and Gerashenia, all those guys, Honor Law, they all run through that. They just run through that stuff. So that wasn't fun. And my all-time number 1 card is Repressed Message because it's fun. It's fun. There's drama, and the more important thing is Repressed Message captures the moment. The river in poker. When you turn over the last card in poker, Repressed Message is the same feeling. Like you don't know what it is, and then boom, it might be good, it might be bad. So that alone is I don't know who to give credit. No one's ever come out, and I don't know who did that, but that card alone it's so much fun.
It is fun.
And it leads to weird fun stuff like facing where no one's gone before in a planet. There's like goofy, but nothing bad really happens from it. You just do what All right, so Neil. So give me your best card of the CC era.
Best card of the CC era. Jeez. You could have sent me this email before.
You weren't invited. You got a last minute because Pat dropped out. This would have been a terrible show. I would have been standing here. It
would have been a great show without him.
Me going bibbles in front of the computer screen.
Best card. Jeez.
All right, while you're thinking about that, Van Bremen's worst card, I forgot to get to it, was Exchange Program. That's the Klingon card. I've seen it used once. I think Ben used to use it.
It's cute.
So, Exchange Program. It's a little goofy, but I don't think it's terrible. But a couple more of my honorable mentions for best card. Coordinate counterattack. I love to play that in TOS. Skill track is still tough to do. There's still too much dial of skill where you can gain any skill. Polywater is a great card. Pitching in, TCS, Mediate Peace Treaty. Number 1, I love number 1. She's got a great flavorful ability and she's a good personnel. And Quinn, another Desperate Sacrifice on the Interrupt is great. And Oracle's Punishment. So those were my honorable mentions for best cards. You got a number 1 yet, Neil?
No. Gerashenia sneak into the top of the list though.
Gerashenia, yeah, he's a good solid. He has a gold star. You should not have a. I was trying to tell Charlie. I tried to tell him that presidents aren't gold star material. They don't get to captain ships, but I don't know why. That's my only knock on Gerashenia. He shouldn't have a staffing icon. Jimmy Carter would not have a gold icon. I love Jimmy Carter. I hate when people bash him, but he doesn't have a gold icon.
You could always just pick Burlinghoff.
Actually, did he command a submarine? Jimmy Carter might have a gold icon. I might be wrong about that. But
yeah, you got to be careful with some of those presidents. Like I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything nice about Mr. 43, but he was a fighter pilot.
Who was?
Mr. Bush.
Oh, the National Guard? What? He wasn't.
Well, I mean, I mean,
That's not a fighter. That's not a fighter pilot. That's a pilot. You can call him a pilot. He sat on a Texas air base drinking every night and spending his day. I need a fighter pilot. You gotta have kills. You gotta have kills. John McCain was a fighter pilot.
Also true. And if he would have been elected president, then he'd also have a gold star.
Yeah, you give John McCain, and you'd have cantankerous. You'd have cantankerousness. You'd have to make the 1E skill a 2E skill.
That's. I mean, I don't know if Mr. 43 would have a gold star, just a staff icon, but I mean, still, he wouldn't be nothing.
George Senior would have no staff icon, but he have intelligence times 2 because he ran the CIA. So, yeah, he was kind of like Art Putin, but without taking his shirt off and tackling bears. Yeah, that's what George.
What's the virtual deck I play alone?
Reagan does not have a gold star. Acting doesn't get you a gold star. There's not too many other recent. Bill Clinton's a lawyer. He don't have a gold star. Bush doesn't. I don't want to. I'll give him a staff icon for sitting in a plane. Ford was a football player. You don't get one.
Pre-errata, I think Rega would be way at the top. I think the Rega ROM deck was excellent. ROM was a problem, but if that was
I hated that Ferengi to dump. It's a setup deck, and setup decks are boring. They're boring to play. They're boring to play against. And
well, I mean, if you actually have to build your savings account the proper way.
Yeah, it's too easy to build, and it's even easier now with that new rule that came out, 239, I think it is.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Do you have anything interesting for once to bring up that doesn't involve Maquis or Tragic Turn? Surprise me here at the end of the show. Surprise me with something. Give me something. We bring it to the table.
Anything interesting? Let's see.
Let's get personal. Let's talk about bitches real fast. We got about 7 minutes. Let's wrap it up on me. Let me get in trouble. Get me in trouble in the last 7 minutes of the show talking about females.
Okay.
What's your biggest complaint on females right now? And I'll tell you what you did wrong.
My biggest complaint on females.
This will be John Corbett Bad Life Coach segment. I'm going to give you advice that you don't even ask for or didn't even need right now.
All Brenda wants to do is play video games, and the 2 girls at work have not formally invited me to the bed and breakfast for an evening.
Okay, the second part I am not sure about, but the wife's not interested. She wants to play games. Well, as far as I know, as long as I've known Brenda, she's always done that. So that's her shit. That's what she does.
Yeah. It is.
The problem with her shit, I remember the first time I was at your house, and I endeared myself to Brenda because she was bitching about your Star Trek cards, I guess being the space they took up. And that's your shit. I try to be like, and I said it just kind of, I'm like, man, women don't want you to do anything. When a woman's got a man and finally they're living together, she just wants him to sit on the couch and wait for instructions, wait for orders. Your hobbies need to stop. Your whatever you're into, just wait for her to say, you want to go antiquing? You want to go to breakfast? She don't want you like a hobby. Your hobby is a Star Trek card game. Like a woman should get down on her knees when she finds a gamer. She should get down on her knees and pray, thank the Lord. Like there's so much evil men can get into, so much evil, and I've gotten into a good deal of it. So I don't get women. They're like that. They don't want you to do nothing. And even Star Trek, I know other guys. Oh, I can't get out of the house. I'll even throw Sykes under the bus. He's guilty of it too. Who says, I don't know if I can get to a tournament. Well, you can't get a one. I can see like both days, like one day of the weekend, like spend a Saturday with her and then go tell her I'm going to play a Star Trek card game, so I don't go out and bang hookers. Like this is my one release.
He has made it to all of our tournaments.
Yeah, he's getting better. He's breaking out. He's finally good for him. I'm glad he's back. He's not getting his man card back yet, but he'll be there. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. Neil, thanks for coming in, and you're a good contingency plan. You were needed. You saved the day.
Apparently not well. The biggest gripe that I see with the new continuing committee cards is the absolute insistence for a long time to cheat around skill dilemmas, and then when we hit peak performance, to switch gears and all of a sudden push people towards skill dilemmas.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, if you look through if you have a binder, if you put all your dilemmas in a binder set by set, you'll notice that the 3 sets before that, there's maybe like 3 total skill dilemmas out of like 30. So yeah, they did a 180. There was no overall design plan back then. It was just like, oh well, what's Brad and Charlie in the mood for now? What do we want to like? They were just like a little bit of ADD design problem. And they went like, oh crap, you just made a whole bunch of everyone's playing non-skill developers. Yeah, you just made that's 95% of what you just fucking pushed out for the last 4 years. So yeah, of course that's what people are playing. So that's better now. That's there's that's what you know what. And Charlie hates me because I'm not at the church of Phase 2. But I'm in the room. I'm listening. It's like when Mormons come to my house. I have to be nice. I have to not tell them to get the fuck out for waking me up when I work nights, which actually happened. I walked into my house, Neil. I'm gonna write about Mormons. I don't care. I walked into my house the other day and I saw the watchtower on my kitchen counter.
Rockstar.
And
that's Jehovah's Witness. That's not Mormons.
Oh, whatever. I don't have time. So they did this in New Jersey. They come to the house when Brandy's home, and she doesn't tell them like no, like she always goes okay, la la la. And then they'll write your name down. They'll say, "Here, take this magazine." Instead of saying, "Don't give me your propaganda," she takes the magazine. What do? They write your address down. And they come back every month. So one morning, I work nights. I work till 5 a.m. and I come like 10 o'clock, knock on my door. And it's two nice ladies, and they're like, "Oh, blah blah blah." And I'm just like, "Listen, ladies, I'm not buying what you're selling. Thanks for coming, but do me a favor. Try not to come back. And if they come, and they'll come back again, and then I have to be mean.
I'm not joining you for a lot of years. So I've actually read through all the books. So when they come to my house, it's people get an earful.
Yeah, but Jehovah's Witness is Mormon. They were Mormons, right?
Well, no, it's a different religion.
What the fuck's a Jehovah's Witness?
The Jehovah's Witness they're the followers of the Jehovah.
What is this? Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade?
It's a completely different religion.
Is it? Oh, I thought that was like I thought they were part of the LDS, LSD.
No, it's different.
Oh, god damn it! So they're not to do with Joseph Smith? Because I'm glad I didn't rant about Joseph Smith. They would have looked at me like I'm
yeah, they were just like, sweet, that guy's awful. Yeah.
Well, that might still get them to leave. Like, oh, this guy's Mormon. They might think I'm crazy, or I'll beat their crazy. I'll raise you Watchtower. I'll raise you Joseph Smith. All right, there you go. Golden plates. He's just talking to fucking Indians and magic underwear. Like, how do people? Like, it's just it's blatant charlatanism. Like, how do people? Like, I don't get it. I don't get the Mormons. So that's it. I'm gonna wrap the show up with me saying fuck what you believe in. If you believe in silly shit. So thanks for coming on, Neil.
Peace.
All right, like Greasy Ducat, I'm kicking you out of the Discord file. Good night.